Okay, moment of truth. Press this button.
Oh, it's a little bit.
Little bit. It's okay lah. I think it was very careful.
Yeah.
So even if you got a person next to it, it wouldn't like suddenly jerk up and open. It will still give you a bit of clearance. But what it does is, it's so easy. So Chris has pets. So to bring his pets inside, or for parents, they put our kids inside the child seat, they put our groceries inside. So good. I'm here in Los Angeles, almost at the end of our US trip, and I'm here with Chris.
Everyday Chris, what's up?
He runs a YouTube channel covering a lot of great tech gadgets, but he's got amazing videos on Tesla vehicles and its tech. Chris, welcome to the channel.
What's up? I'm glad to be here. I'm Everyday Chris with my boy, Everyday Daren.
Every day, trying to get there. So today, we're just going to hear Chris' impressions owning the Model X for more than 6 months now. He's also a Model Y owner. We'll do a drive around LA. Maybe get his experience on Autopilot FSD beta. Is it ready for prime time? So click subscribe to stay updated to more videos on Tesla. Chris, for the audience internationally who haven't met you yet, tell us a bit more about yourself.
Well, my name's Everyday Chris. I have a YouTube channel. I do all things Tesla, tech reviews, all that fun stuff. Go ahead and check that out if you're interested. But my main goal is to help educate people if they first get a Tesla and they don't know what to do, because it's like a computer on wheels. So pretty much I want to kind of help people, educate them. If you have any questions, I try to respond to all the comments as well. But yeah, so we have the Model Y, we love it. And now we got Stormbreaker, the Model X. But the question is, which one is better? I do have a video on that, so check that out if you want to. But today I'm with my boy Daren, and we're gonna see how the Model X is.
That's right. Thank you so much, Chris. So, the iconic feature of this car is the Falcon Wing doors. So a lot of people will probably ask you, Chris, can you actually open the Falcon Wing doors from the Tesla app?
Yes, I was just gonna say. I can open the doors, no problem. But you know what I'm gonna do instead? I'm gonna open it with the app. Oh shoot.
Look at that.
So it's not only the Falcon Wing doors that open, it's also the front doors as well. And it senses your phone, so it automatically opens the door too. So if we go away, it's locked, it'll automatically open because it knows I'm near and it'll open by itself, which is insane.
As Chris has mentioned before in his earlier video comparing the Model Y and X, this is the only Tesla where the front doors self-present. They open themselves. Super luxurious.
Yes, I feel
Like
so
a boss,
rich.
like
I
a
feel
boss,
so rich.
huh?
You want to try it out?
Okay, let's try it out.
Let's try
Okay,
it.
how does it work? What do you want me to
I
do?
hope it works. Okay, so we're gonna close everything. Okay. And then, so the car's locked. Why don't you come over here real quick? And then we're gonna slowly walk up to the car, and then the car should sense us, and then the front door should open. Here we go. So sometimes if it senses someone nearby, it'll just kind of open it like this, but then it just opened all the way on its own too. And then to close it, you can just either press the touch sensitive button over here, or like what we did, we could just walk away. A lot of times I always forget to close the door for some reason. I don't know why. And then it closes automatically, which is super cool.
Very nice. You've also had videos demonstrating in the Model X with the Falcon Wing doors. Very practical in a tight garage.
Yes.
Because with the back doors in Model Y, it's harder to bring luggage or items inside.
Yep.
So these doors, as Chris has mentioned, has a lot of sensors. It's supposed to sense obstacles. Does it sense human? Like if I stand next to the door like that and you open it,
Yeah, so
would it be okay?
it should be okay. A lot of times it depends on where you're standing to. But they used to actually have more sensors on the doors, but because there were so many sensors, it would never close and so many people had issues with it. So let's try it. Okay, moment of truth. Press this button. Oh, it's a little bit.
Little bit. It's okay lah. I think it was very careful.
Yeah.
So even if you got a person next to it, it wouldn't like suddenly jerk up and open. It will still give you a bit of clearance. But what it does is, it's so easy. So Chris has pets. So to bring his pets inside, or for parents, they put our kids inside the child seat, they put our groceries inside. So good. So I think some people say this looks very cool, right? Like it's just a gimmick. It's nice for the light shows, but actually for everyday use. Let's ask Everyday Chris.
Yes, for everyday use, every day, If I was to park in between those two cars over there, I could easily get in and out. And I talk about it a ton of times. When you open a normal door, your space is like right here. This is all you have to do stuff. But then with the Falcon Wing doors, you have all this space to kind of move things in and out, kids especially, anything. And it's super awesome.
What's more awesome is actually riding in a Tesla. So let's head inside. You can give me a short drive
Yes.
across
let's do
LA.
it.
See you inside.
Let's go, la. Here, let me open the door for you.
All right. Oh, look at that. Uber drivers have been asking for this feature for the Model 3 and Y because so many people are riding a Tesla for the first time.
Yep.
They're probably wondering, how do I open these doors?
Exactly.
So let me put on my belts. But the first thing you can see in front is the touchscreen is a lot bigger.
Yes. Touchscreen's bigger. You have the yoke steering wheel. You can adjust the display now. That's a new feature that they added.
So you can tilt it to either the driver or also the passenger. I understand why we tilt it towards the driver. In what occasions do you tilt it towards the passenger side?
That's a great question, actually. Well, I guess maybe if they want to move the climate, or if they're watching a movie or something and we're parked and they want to see it better more into their side, they can go ahead and do that if they wanted to. Which has happened a lot of times when I'm waiting for something, or my wife is waiting for somebody or waiting for me. She could easily move the screen so she could see the screen a lot better.
Does it work with voice commands?
Ooh, it does not work with voice commands.
Elon, give us some voice commands here.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
You'll notice that this car is so much wider than a Model Y. So Chris is a very big and tall person. You can see his shoulder space is actually a lot more.
I go to the gym. I go to the gym la.
This video was not sponsored to you by Fitness First.
Ooh, Pure Fitness in Takashimaya.
Pure Fitness!
I love Pure Fitness.
And this is it a 5-seater configuration?
It's a 5-seater, yeah. So normally a lot of people, they get the 6-seater, but we don't have kids and then we want more cargo space. So unfortunately with the captain's chairs, you can't roll them flat. I just did a video where I took them out camping, and that was a cool thing that I can roll the second row seats all the way flat to put a mattress in so we have more space. Cannot do that in the Model X 6-seater configuration, which is another reason why we love the 5-seater.
This is a very luxurious car. Chris has shared in his earlier videos. You'll find them in the video description. Just all the build materials, just look at everything. It's more refined. The leather also looks better.
Yeah, way better.
There's wood grain here.
Yeah, the wood grain. I mean, it has adaptive suspension, so you can adjust the ride height to it. It's way more comfortable than the Model Y. I mean, there's Teslas everywhere here in the States. And a lot of people, they complain about the Model Y because it's too bumpy. But the beauty with the Model X is because you have that adaptive suspension, it's a lot more comfortable.
Okay, we're going to go for a drive now. One last question as we drive.
Yes.
Chris, you're using a yoke, but now recently, Tesla just switched the S and X to be default steering wheel. So you got to pay extra money for a yoke, I believe. So the question is it worth paying extra for a yoke?
I think it's totally worth paying extra for it. Number one, it's so unique and different. Number two, people think, oh, is the steering wheel supposed to be round? Where do I put my hands? It's just like the 10 and 2 position in the United States is right here, and then you can still drive totally fine. What I love about it is that you get this full visibility in the center display. With a steering wheel, it's going to cover some of that, which is why I drove the Rivian. If you guys know the Rivian SUV, they had a nice display in the front too, but it was always covered by the steering wheel, which is the thing I didn't like. But with the yoke steering wheel, you get full access, so it's beautiful.
That is so true. So let's take it for a ride, and we'll continue to hear Chris' impressions driving this car using Autopilot and FSD Beta.
Yes, let's do it. So let me go and turn on Autopilot actually. Okay. One thing I want to show you guys. How do I go into drive? How do I go into park? There's no gear stalks, no nothing. Signal lights are on this little touch sensitive button here. So you can press it to activate it. And then what's cool is it uses the cameras and sensors to determine whether it should go forward or backwards. As you can see, it's already saying tap to activate drive, which means I just have to press on the brake to activate it. If I wanted to, I can use this. I can use the touchscreen here. So touchscreen to go forward or touchscreen to go backwards.
And But many people also may realize that there's also emergency physical touch buttons at the bottom.
Yes, right here. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, there you go, right there.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're gonna put our destination. So this is what everyone wants, right? They want to know, can I drive there? Can it do it all by itself? So we're gonna go here. There's lots of pedestrians here. Doesn't do too well in a parking lot, but we're gonna see how we do. Very simple. It takes maybe a day or so to drive and get used to the yoke steering wheel. I'm vlogged in almost 2,000 miles, so I'm definitely used to it. Don't want to curb them wheels. The beauty with FSD Beta is that it sees everything. Now, one thing I love about the Model 3 and Model Y is you get all this information on the touchscreen here. Whereas in the Model X and S, it's in this tiny little screen here, which is unfortunate.
And as Chris mentioned, it's not a touchscreen, so there are some pros and cons. There is truth that majority of Tesla engineers are driving Model 3s and Ys.
Yes. It's the one thing I don't like. I wish there were more features with the Model X because you're paying so much more for it. I mean, I can't even control the distance, cruise control distance with the right right steering wheel like you can with the Model 3 and Model Y. I have to actually go to the menu, go to Autopilot, and then control it this way. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start it. So to start it, instead of doing gear stock down twice, all we do is press the right scroll wheel. Now we're on a road with no lanes. So we're gonna see how it does.
Now turn right onto Beach Boulevard.
We're in the middle of the lane, so we're being a classic LA driver.
The boss creeping out slowly.
Yeah, my wife, Everyday Jan, she has a video on why she doesn't like FSD. But, I mean, I love it. However, I don't trust it 100% of the time because it does do some weird things sometimes. But let's see if we can do 0 interventions driving 0.5 miles away. So one crazy thing is with all the other car manufacturers, they always talk about how they have the full self-driving and everything. But the thing is, they are on pre-planned routes, like certain parts of a freeway, certain parts of a road. No other car manufacturer actually uses just the cameras and the cameras around the vehicle to control the driving. So it's not using any special data or anything like that. It's just learning how to drive in the area that it's in, which is why it's able to drive itself in a random spot. Like I've never been here before.
See, it's handling well.
Yeah.
And on the Model S and X,
100 feet. Your destination will be on
the visualization is smaller, so it's only for the driver to see. It's harder for the other passengers to see. But it's stopping, you can see the red lights in the driver's instrument panel. And I think what Chris also misses the ability to scroll around the FSD beta visualization. When we were in Disneyland Park yesterday, we got to see all the cars are super impressive. Everyone could see it. But on the S and X, it's truly the driver's experience.
That's true. Truly the drivers. I don't know if you know that with the Model Y and 3, if you press the speed sign, it'll default to like your offset speed. So it's a quick way of increasing your speed if it's low. But because I can't touch it, I can't do that in the Model S and X, which is unfortunate. And also you can't change percentage. So 83%, how many miles is that? I can't touch it.
That's right. Now you may also be noticing the past 2 minutes that this car is super quiet. Because as Chris has shared in his video, that there's a lot more noise isolation. There's a lot more of the just all the double windows as well, double pane windows to make sure that there's very quiet experience. And this quiet experience allows you to truly experience amazing sound system. It is a night and day difference. Night and day.
What's cool is it also has active noise cancellation in the headrests. And it'll know and quiet the road noise a little bit for you. So let's see if I can show you that real quick. So it's calibrating right now. So it calibrates after every drive, but it helps reduce the noise in the interior cabin by turning on like active noise cancellation.
As we drive up this car park, it's just for Singaporeans here, just remarking how big the car park is in the US, how much car park there is,
Yeah.
and also more importantly, there's so much free parking in the US. In Singapore, everywhere is pay, pay, pay.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, in LA area, you have to pay for all the parking, but here we don't have to. Let's see if we can get Autopark to pop up so we can try to park itself. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna try auto parking. It uses the cameras to figure out where to go. And you see what I mean by not very... It's thinking it'll do it. Okay, not done yet. There you go.
And we did it! Autopark, it does the job. It usually takes more time. It feels like a driving school student parking. So you got to be a bit more patient, but that patience rewards you because it doesn't just free up your mind space or just allows you to disconnect a little bit. Chris, thank you so much for the ride around LA. We saw FSD beta in action. It is not perfect, but in well-marked roads, it does the job.
Yeah. One thing I forgot to mention is the interior space between the Model Y and the Model X. We put so much stuff in the Model X because you can fit stuff under the rear seats. The two trunk wheel wells are ginormous. The front is huge. I mean, it's so big. Darren, I bet you can fit a full-grown Singaporean adult male in there. I think we can.
Let's find out. Let's find out.
Let's do it.
So here we go, moment of truth.
Look at that.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
comfy.
I think if Chris closes this, I would be inside. Please don't close the front. But yeah, this is gigantic. My daughter, you can definitely fit a 6-year-old in here, no problem. So don't get the Model X if you're trying to smuggle humans. Get it because the front space is amazing. There are some cars with much bigger front, like the Ford F-150 or the Rivian truck. You'll see those reviews in Chris videos as well. But this is bigger than the Model Y space. Model Y, you can already fit in one entire cabin check-in. Here, what you can fit in so much. This is huge. Wow.
So do they offer the Model X and S in the States?
In
Singapore.
So that's the thing. A lot of our other countries outside the US, they don't have the Model S and X. And recently, Tesla also shared a little bit of bad news. They cancelled the reservations for right-hand drive S and X. That means they're only selling the left-hand drive S and X, like the one that Chris is driving. Now, in markets like Japan, where it's legal to drive a left-hand drive car on right-hand drive streets, they are selling the S and X. You just have to drive on the other side.
Yeah.
But in Singapore, the government only allows embassy vehicles and military vehicles to drive left-hand drive, which means we are not going to see an S and X in the near future in many countries like Singapore. So I want to ask Chris a question.
Yes.
Are we missing out a lot? I mean, we've got the Model Y, it's a great car. It's the world's most popular car for a reason. But are we missing out a lot by not having the X? What's your take?
I think now USD, the Model X starts at like $98,000, which is really expensive. So I feel like for most people, if you can afford it, great. But in the United States, we have something cool where we can actually write off the purchase of the vehicle if you own a business, if it weighs over a certain amount of pounds. So for instance, this thing is so heavy, it's over 6,000 pounds. So for your business, if you're using it for the business, you could actually write it off. That reduces your tax liability, so you owe less taxes to Uncle Sam. But I think in general, the Model Y is sufficient enough for most people and most families because it does the job. If you don't like the suspension, they have the new adaptive suspension, which is supposed to be more comfortable, or comfort suspension. And you can also have aftermarket suspensions added, no problem. The technology is beautiful. It's a much more simpler interior, which is totally fine. But yeah, Model X isn't completely necessary for people, so don't feel like you're missing out on it.
Also, Chris' family still has the Model Y.
Yeah.
The Model Y itself still very well, and it's still being put to its paces.
Yep.
A lot of people often say that, I'm from friends who have Model S and X. They say sometimes with the X, because it's such a fancy car, you feel like you're serving the car. You must take care of the car. For the Y, because it's more, I guess, like an everyday car, the car serves you. You don't want, I won't say you abuse it, but you just do what you need in life and you think less about the car. So let's actually head to the back seats together, ask Chris a few more questions to wrap up this video, and also enjoy the interior space in the back seats that we have not explored yet.
Yeah, let's do it. Oh, cool. All right, let me bring the seat up because I'm tall, so I gotta. All right.
So Chris, your Falcon wing doors didn't open fully because it noticed like an obstruction above.
Yeah. So it's always really safe. So it knows and it sensed that there was some like one of these pillars, so it didn't open all the way. You can always manually open it all the way by just holding the button if you wanted to.
So that's really cool. So you have buttons on the side to close the doors, like so. And this is actually like the SpaceX experience. All the astronauts on the Falcon 9s and Starship One Day ride on the Model X being ferried into the spacecraft.
Yeah, that's cool.
Chris,
Yeah.
with the Model X that you own it so far, what would you say is one or two things you really love about this car that the Y cannot give you?
Man. I'm very spoiled. The first world problems, but the interior, so much more refined, so much nicer. Number one. Number two, the ride quality and comfort. Because you have that adaptive suspension, it absorbs the bumps on the road way better. Number three, it's the interior space and the Falcon Wing doors. I love these things, especially because of our dogs. Makes it 100 times easier to just bring them in and out, and you have so much more space. And like I said, I'm 6'3" and like 195 pounds. The Model X just feels better for me. Model Y is still great too. However, it is a touch on the small side because I did all the dimension comparisons and I just had less shoulder room, less leg room.
That's right. So Chris, if you try closing the Falcon Wing door, you can actually see if someone like Chris height, like 6'3", how much space there is in the back seat.
Let's do it.
How often do you get chauffeured on your car?
I wish, never. It's nice down here. Anyways, what's cool about this is that you get these cool windows. So you don't get the full panoramic glass roof like you do with the Model Y, but you have a whole window here for that added space, and so you can kind of see out so you're not claustrophobic. Only downfall is because you have that Falcon Wing doors and they go up in the center, the person in the middle doesn't have as much space because it kind of sinks in a little bit. That's the only downfall. But again, that's why Elon Musk loves the captain's chairs, because there's only two here and then it's open in the middle here.
I have a question, Chris. This is a bigger car. Some of my friends were wondering, with a tool like FSD Beta, does it account for the different sizes of the car? Because when you drive a Model Y versus a Model X, this is a bigger car. Some people who drive a Model S, they say they feel that the FSD Beta may not account for the width of the car. It gets a bit closer to other vehicles. What's your experience?
I can definitely say it uses the cameras, right? So there's side repeater cameras on all the cars, and then that determines the width of the car. However, I mean, it's a hit or miss. Sometimes the even Model Y gets really, really close to another car. And then sometimes the X gives plenty of space. They're constantly improving the software, and that's the beauty with Tesla. Very similar to like other big companies like Apple, right? You have your Apple iPhone, and you just get a brand new software update makes the iPhone feel like a new iPhone because you have all these cool features. Same thing with the Tesla. They just added a new feature when you're on FSD beta. I don't know if Daren noticed, but when you're on the highway, people don't like to be near trucks next to them. FSD beta with the newest update, it actually swerves a little bit away from the truck, still staying in its lane, but making sure it's not so close to the truck where it feels unsafe. And that's something they just added, which is super cool.
Definitely our family noticed it. We're very thankful for it because Autopilot, like in Singapore, it sticks dead center to the lane, no matter how big the vehicle next to you is. So sometimes we have to disengage Autopilot, drive past a big vehicle, and turn it back on. Chris, we've learned so much from your experience. And for everyone else who's watching this, especially outside of US, if you want to try a Model X, you can rent it on Turo. It is almost, I think right now, at least in my experience, Turo prices for Model Y is around like $90 a day. The Model X would be $150 to $200 a day. So almost double, but it's an iconic car experience. You get the experience here. So if you want to learn more about Chris and his adventures and also his experience with tech, you can subscribe to his channel on YouTube, Everyday Chris.
Everyday Chris.
You'll find a link down in the video description. And if you found this video useful, please click the like button, hit subscribe to stay updated to more videos on Tesla. Chris is visiting Singapore next month, so stay tuned. He may have more videos to share over there.
Yep.
And hopefully you get the host Chris over there as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Yep. No problem. See you guys later. No one's driving. So that's another cool feature, Smart Summon. So it kind of knows where you are, and if you're in a certain distance, if you're in a certain area, and let's say it's raining or something, you can bring the car to you in a parking lot, which is cool. And that's something that doesn't work all the time, but when it does work, and if it's raining, it's like really helpful to have.